All right. Welcome to Life Change Transformation. We're into episode number 22 in season two, which is kind of cool to be this far along. I'm joined by
Mhm.
Maeve Langford, as always, my amazing co-host. She's from Cork, Ireland, transformational life coach. She really is, like I say, she's blazing that trail to create people's most loved lives that they can absolutely live out there, which is fantastic. And she's empowering people and inspiring people to make change every day, which is always great to be with her. And her insights are always amazing, and they help me just as much as they help you, just so you know. Of course, my name is Gary Benoit, an author and a speaker. Um, I spent 25 years as a police officer, so I've got some background in public service as well as navigating some very challenging times. The book I have published called The Call for Service, that book does outline some of those things, and so it's on Amazon, and it's part of my journey to this point. Today, we're going to be talking about the law of vibration, and truly the secret is in the feeling, right? And when we talk about vibration, I'm sure you've heard, if you've even been around a little while, you heard about the law of attraction, right? People have talked about the law of attraction. It's quite, I think, it's a prominent idea out there that you can attract things to your life, to your situation. But what precedes the law of attraction is this law of vibration. And the law of vibration is really what we're going to talk about, how come or how this can really enhance your life. And really we're talking about, there's two bits to transformation, right? The science and then there's the art, right? We've got the art of it, which is being our vision and understanding our vision and understanding what that looks like. But then the science of it is the vibrational piece, right? It's being able to match that
Yeah,
vibration. Would you agree?
absolutely. Absolutely. And like when we talk about vibration, again, it can maybe feel a little bit intangible on one level. So frequency, vibration, we might use those words a bit interchangeably today.
Hmm.
But, when we talk about, somebody gives me a good vibe or like, good vibrations, was it the Beach Boys song? But like, so we can actually feel it, right? It's not as intangible as it sounds. if
Hmm.
if we walk into a room and there's just been a massive argument in that room, even if we've not heard anything, we walk in and you just feel the atmosphere. That's
Correct.
vibration,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
The same, like if you can see people through a window and like they're maybe excited about something, you don't know what's going on, but you can feel they're all loved up, and there's a
Hmm.
high vibe in that room, and you can see it through the window, right? You can feel it.
Correct.
So so that vibration piece, it's, I think on one level we can get it right, and when we talk about the vision and manifestation, the vision as we create it, it's on a different frequency to the current results, where
Right.
we've got some things we like, some things we don't, but the vision is an expansion of all of it. So by
Correct.
definition, it's going to be on a different frequency.
Correct.
So the reason we talk about it in the context then of transformation and creating changes that we want in our lives is that to make the vision manifest, I have to be on the frequency of that vision.
Correct. And these are natural laws, right? These are occurring in the universe. These laws have been around for thousands and thousands of years. Um, those that are able to recognize them and use them to their advantage create success, create a life that they really truly enjoy, and they have fulfillment in their days. And we really want you guys to be aware of these laws, and especially this one, because I think the vibrational piece, it ties into our well-being, our emotional well-being, our all of it, all that stuff really comes from that vibration. Because, right,
Yeah.
if we're um like in our last episode, we talked about the emotional well-being series, or the radical well-being and well-being emotions having a big part on that. And how do we live more emotionally better, right?
Yeah.
The law of vibration really does tie into that quite well, because I think
Yeah.
the higher that we're vibrating, the higher frequency that we're vibrating at creates better emotional state inside of us, in my opinion. And
Yeah,
it
absolutely. And
right, like it creates that state, right?
Absolutely. And I would say every emotion, not just me, I mean, this is researched. Every emotion has its own
Correct.
vibration and its frequency. So what we're trying to do is to stabilize more and more in those kind of expansive frequencies, which
Right.
again will be more aligned with our vision, with abundance, with
Correct.
kind of, the bigger expression of life that we want to live into. Yeah,
Correct. And I think it's in being intentional too, right? With your having awareness,
absolutely.
being intentional with how you're vibrating in that moment. If you think about anything, right? If you look at the science side of things, every molecule, everything has always got a vibrational frequency to it, right? The stuff that are more solid, it's just got less energy in it, right? It's just vibrating at a slower level. It's
Vibrating
right,
slower.
it's
Yeah.
slower, right? It's really, really slow. So it's like a solid object. Those that are vibrating very, very fast are gaseous materials, right? Like oxygen and nitrogen. And they're just because they're gaseous, they're very high energy, very much lots of vibration, right? When you look at it from a molecular level. And so we're trying to educate you a bit on your own body, your own system, and really realize that you can molecularly inside of your own system create create success through this law of
Yeah.
vibration.
Yeah.
Um, Einstein said, everything is energy. And there's just nothing else to it, right? Just everything is energy. So if you match the frequency of the reality you want, you can't help but get that particular reality, right? And that's kind of what this law is about. And
Yeah.
we want to just talk more about recognizing your vibration. So understanding how you show up, right? So what would you say to people when you think about that statement, right? Everything is energy. You match that frequency, and it's going to create a reality,
It
right?
can be
It
yours.
could be yours, right? So
Hmm.
what do you have to say in with respect to that particular quote from Einstein?
Well, I think maybe one of the easiest ways to kind of all of us be able to relate to this, if we think about, people talk about fake it till you make it. And I don't like that phrase so much because it feels inauthentic in some
Fair.
way, right?
That's
That
fair. Yeah.
But so my take on it, and probably yours as well, is this kind of acting as if, right? So if I were to act as if, I already have the job of my dreams, or if I were to act as if I already am in the relationship that I want to call in my life, if I want to act as if, as if I'm a healthy person, right? If I'm dieting at the moment, and to be able to say to myself, then, well, what would a healthy person eat at this opportunity for lunch? I mean, am I going to take the burger and chips, or am I going to have the warm chicken salad? And I might love burger and chips, right? And it's good to know that I love those things, but the vision version of me, the healthy version of me that I aspire to, she or he is going to choose the healthy option at least 9 times out of 10, right? So when I'm vibrating at the same frequency, when I'm on the frequency of health, I'm going to be healthy. When I'm on the frequency of, in a loving relationship, when I'm being a loving person, I will attract in loving people into
Hmm.
my life, and I
Hmm.
can create a loving relationship. Where to help people in terms of thinking, oftentimes when we talk about the vision side of it, we say, so there's vision, there's the art and the science of all of this. The art is the vision, right? And people will say to me, clients might come to me and say, Maeve, I know what I want, right? I know what my vision is. I want to be in that relationship, or have that job, or, get that grant, or whatever it is. And they're like, it's just not happening, right? So the reason it's not happening is because we're not a vibrational match for
Right.
it.
Right.
And if I give an example, if you imagine that, say I want to attract the love of my life, right? And I know that, and I can maybe sometimes get into that imagining I'm having that relationship. But you talked last time we were together, Gary, about my dominant feeling, right? My dominant vibration. If my dominant vibration is that I'm lonely and it's really hard to meet people these
Hmm.
days, and if I'm a woman, and I want to attract a guy into my life, if I'm saying all the good guys are gone, or if I want a woman in my life, all the good ones are gone. And if that's my dominant thinking and feeling, I'm going to attract again. So like attracts like. So my vibration is like all the good ones are gone. I'm lonely. It's sad. Maybe I've left it too late. Maybe it's not possible for me. If that's my dominant frequency, I will attract in experiences, outcomes, results that are a match for that dominant frequency,
Right.
which is not attracting in the love of my life, right? Because the love of my life doesn't show up when I'm lonely and depressed and, feeling
Right.
I've left it too late.
Yeah.
So so our job is, and this feels so counterintuitive, right? Because it feels so tangible to the five senses. I'm lonely, I'm hurt, I'm scared,
Yeah,
I've left it too late.
for
That
sure.
feels real, right? This imaginary, I'm so happy and grateful now that I have this love in my life. That feels a bit makey uppy and it's not so tangible and real. But the reason the stuff that is real in my life is because it's that relatable that I've manifested it.
Hmm.
So my job is to now relate to that higher frequency and that result of being in that beautiful relationship, to be relating to that more than I am to maybe it's not possible for me and I'm lonely and upset about that.
Right.
And that's again, how do we get to that? It's through the frequency, right? That and we imagine it, so we can imagine what the end result feels like when I'm with that person, and that these are the conversations we're having, and that this is how I'm feeling, and these are the places we're going. I can go to those places
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
have coffee in those places I think I'd like to go to with my
Yep.
honey, and I do those things. And as I do that, then I have ideas. Then I start to feel a little bit better and
Right.
I'm raising my vibration.
Right.
And that's how it works
Yeah.
every time.
Because like
And
attracts like.
like attracts like
Yeah. It's
every
like
time.
it's
And
like a
this is
magnet.
you exactly. But you mentioned earlier that these are universal laws that have been
They are.
around forever.
Hmm.
And that's what I love about it, right? Because it's not, again, if I'm thinking like, I want to be in that relationship, I'm not in it at the moment, and I'm vibrating at a frequency that doesn't match it, I can't have it. It doesn't matter how good I am, how wealthy I am, how pretty I am, how anything I am. If I'm not a match for it, I can't have it.
Correct.
And again, if I am a match for it, it doesn't matter how wealthy, unattractive, attractive, good, bad, or indifferent. If I'm matching it, I will get it every time. So what I love about these laws is that they always work. They don't, it's nothing to do with my age or stage or, how good I've been in the past or, whether I say my prayers or whether I do my yoga or my meditation. It doesn't matter. I
Hmm.
just have to be a vibrational match for the outcome I want
Correct.
every time.
Right.
And that gives me confidence to a certain extent, right? As your coach, it gives me confidence to any of you listening and any clients that are in my life when I'm in coach mode, it gives me confidence to say if you match that frequency, you can have it because it's law. It's immutable.
Yeah.
And it gives me confidence for myself. Not that I always feel 100% confident about the things that I haven't yet achieved,
Correct.
but it gives me confidence to know that if I'm working on my vibration, if I trust the process, if I keep raising my vibration, it has to come.
Right.
And the more I can stabilize myself on that higher vibration, the faster it comes.
Right. It's like if you think about those listening, if you're watching the TV, if you're watching a TV channel and you really would love to be watching the travel channel, I want to watch travel channel, and currently your TV is tuned to the sports channel, and all you're getting is sports, and you don't really love sports. Sports isn't something you love to see, but it's there. It's there all the time, and it's always there. And you're like, well, I don't want to watch this. I want to watch the travel channel. Well, all we do is change the channel. But what you're really doing when you consider that little action of just picking up the remote and flicking a few buttons to get to the next channel is you're changing the frequency that you're able to
Yes.
tap into, right? You've
Yeah.
so it's just like your results, right? If you're getting a certain level of result in your life and you're like, I don't love my result currently. I would love something different, but all you see are the results that you currently have because you're operating at that frequency. That frequency is what you're seeing. So all the evidence of what you've got there and what's been showing up is from the frequency that you're at. So to get to that next level, that a vision that you would love to be, that frequency change, that channel change is really, really important to be able to recognize and raise that vibration. And I think that when you consider um, like vibration, because they are once again, because the law is what the law is, and it can be for anybody. I think it that confidence piece. I love that you said that, Maeve. Is that it should give you some confidence. Yes, you may not
Yeah.
see, you may change your vibration. You may be, and right now, there's no evidence of what you would love to see in your life currently. It's maybe that you haven't got to that result, you haven't achieved that result. The evidence isn't quite there yet, but just because there's no evidence of it doesn't mean there's absence of evidence, right?
Hmm.
Right. The absence is there, but it doesn't mean it's not happening for you already in the unseen. And
Yeah.
and when I go, I'm going to relate it back to my story. My When I was wanting to show up differently for my family, I and be a different husband, a different father, right? I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what I wanted to be like. But the evidence of the moment was I wasn't in that place. All it took was just, like I say, I just changed the challenge a little bit. Like I didn't even have to go far, right? I had to change just one little step forward, right? And it changed. And it took me a little bit of time of repetition, of coming back to that, trying to show up, right? I fell down a lot through that process because I had a lot of learning to do, right? But then all of a sudden it showed up, and now my family is solid and core, it's fantastic. But just know that the process is going to happen, and if you match
Yeah.
that vibration, it does happen for you. Like as I'm living proof
Yeah.
of it from that perspective in that relationship piece, right? I wanted to build those
Yeah.
relationships, right? And so, and that confidence is fantastic. I think it's
So,
fantastic.
and I would say for me too, right, in my own life, and sometimes I have to remind myself of this, right? But I'm living proof of it too, right? To
Yes.
go from, unhappy, public sector, feeling kind of a bit at the victim of all my conditions, to, becoming an entrepreneur and being the coach I want to be in the world, and providing the kind of service I wanted to provide in the
Hmm.
ways that I knew were most impactful to do that. And yeah, and it didn't all happen overnight, right?
No,
But we start to step into it. So what would you say, like for anyone listening today, right, where they've got certain results, they want to create new results. How do you change the channel, right? What are the
mm,
ways you know of to raise the vibration and go to a higher frequency?
for sure. One, I really tried to connect with my vision. I really tried to connect with who I wanted to become all the time in my mind. And I
Yeah,
had some really clear scaffolding images of what it looked like. Like I had some clear pictures in my mind that I could just literally close my eyes and in like a millisecond go to those pictures and see, right? What did it look like for me to show up as that husband, as that father? Um, for me, it was at the time Aiden was younger, so it was like teaching him how to golf and showing him how to throw a baseball and showing him how to do all those little cool things, riding a bike and spending that quality time with him. If it's doing that, he loved Transformers as a kid. If you have much, you probably have them over there, like those trans.
we had them too. Yeah, my boys all have
Yeah, and so
Transformers. Yeah,
I sat for hours, and he would be playing, and he would want them transformed into a man, into a robot, and back to their car shape. And I would just sit there with him until he'd be playing around, and he'd be like, "Okay, need this as a car," and he'd give me the car, give me the thing, and I'd transform the robot back to a car, and I would do that for hours with him, right? And so that was one
yeah,
of the pictures in my mind. I'm just going to sit there, and I'm going to be there with him in that way. For my wife, it was just like, hey, I'm taking out the garbage, I'm doing the dishes, I'm trying to be proactive in the house stuff. And I'm also just listening and holding space. And so I had those pictures in my head and I could just go to them really fast. That was one way I
yeah.
used to change the channel, right? Because I was able to go there. Uh,
Brilliant.
and then two, gratitude. Gratitude was one of the biggest catalysts for me when it came to changing my vibration because gratitude is a very high vibrational feeling,
Yeah.
right? That and I coupled it with just that feeling of love, like that feeling of like the gratitude coupled to love, right? And what would love do, and how would love show up, and how can we be grateful in this moment for everything? And without those two little things, I wouldn't have been able to change the channel as
Yeah.
easily, right?
Yeah.
Those are the two
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, great. And so just for everybody listening today, the scaffolding images, so we have a vision, right? And a scaffolding image is just like a snapshot of a point in time. Like Gary, I'm playing Transformers with my son, right? And we do that for hours on end. And Aiden was probably loving every moment of it, right? And you
Yeah.
can you can just see it, that interaction here. I've just transformed it and it's like click, or I'm there doing the dishes, click. And so it's just a moment in time that's evidence of it all kind of coming together in
Hmm.
some way. If it,
Hmm.
my analogy of wanting to attract the love of my life, it might be just, I'm at home and I've made a lovely dinner and we're sitting and we're eating together and we're talking about our day, and it just feels like perfect.
Hmm.
So those scaffolding images raise our vibration, right?
Absolutely.
Because it's like end result. It takes us to the emotion and the feeling of that end result moment. The gratitude piece, the acting as if is another way that we can do it, right? That if I already say I'm making, I don't know, I'm preparing for an interview, and if I'm imagining myself that I've already got the interview, right? I'm already that successful version. I've had the outcome. I'd be confident. I'd be maybe assertive. I'd be holding my head high, and I'm showing up as I'm doing my prep before I ever get the job, but I'm generating those feelings now, and I'm coming from that energy, from that higher
Mhm.
vibration energy. And again, it's gonna call it in.
I,
So when we
I
when we
love
talk
that.
about,
I love that. So I just want to expand on the coming from.
please, yeah,
Oftentimes we have this idea, and we by we I mean everybody in society and people that are trying to make changes.
generally,
I'm right. I'm part of that group of people. I call we. I'm part of that we. We try to get to our dream,
yeah,
right? We're trying to get to something, and it's out there in the future. It's somewhere. We're futurizing the achievement, right? It's gonna, boy, I'm gonna get to it in 3 years. I'm gonna do that and whatever. And you're putting it out there. And if we continue to put it out there and we're trying to get to it from where we are, we'll never get there. It'll never occur for us because all we're going to continue to do is continue to just push it out. It's like trying to chase a rainbow. If you want to find the end of that rainbow, that where it touches the earth, you could chase that rainbow for days and you will never get to it because all you're doing is it's out there, right? You have to come from the dream.
yes,
You have to come from the vision. And you have to
yeah,
that's the law of vibration. You're elevating yourself to that place where you're already there. It's already finished and you're coming from there and acting
yes,
in the moment.
yeah.
It's a very different, it's counterintuitive in a way, and we're
It
not
is, I think, for many of us,
right,
yeah,
and we're not trained to
counterintuitive.
think that way, right?
No,
But that's the vibrational law, right? You come from that place. Be, and before
yes,
it's even a reality, come from there so you can
yeah.
bring it.
So we can use our memory to help us to, how do I generate those feelings, right? Some of it is like we in our work sometimes, in anybody who any of you have been at my vision workshops, we do something called time machine, where we imagine, 3 years have gone by, and we're meeting somebody at a reunion and we talk about our vision, and it's already happened, right?
Mhm.
And when I see people having those conversations, you see them light up, right? And they're smiling and they're excited as they're talking about it. And it's like they're tuning to the frequency, right? They're in the frequency of the vision realized in that moment. So if you've ever done a time machine, you can remember what that felt like to speak it in those moments. You can do it again, of course, as well. And we generate those feelings. We can always, when we're talking about accessing higher vibrations, we can remember past events that were successful, that we felt confident, we felt loved. Even if, again, if my story of wanting to attract the love of my life, I can have memories, not just maybe in a previous relationship, but maybe memories of, your grandmother looking after you and making your favorite dinner, and you felt really loved and special. Or, your parents, there was something you wanted, some Christmas or some birthday, and they got exactly the thing. And again, you just felt so cherished and special in those moments. We can call up those memories, and even though they may be many years in the past, as I remember them today, I'm feeling the feeling today, and then that's what I'm emoting out there, right? That's what I'm putting out there. When we said at the start, Gary, that the secret is in the feeling, right? That's a quote from Neville Goddard. And he again, any of you can listen to him on YouTube. There's loads of stuff from him. But he speaks very eloquently to this idea of the secret is in the feeling, because when I can generate the feeling, whether it's from a past memory or a future memory, or even on the romance issue, if I'm watching a movie on TV and I'm feeling all romantic because of it, that works. It's elevating. That's the frequency. If I'm feeling it, that's the frequency. And then that frequency is like an attractor. So we're both an emitter of the frequency and we're a receiver of it coming back to us, right? So when I'm in that loved up feeling, I'm gonna attract in opportunities and experiences that cause me to feel loved up, ideas of where to find that person, and people making connections and introductions and all of that.
Hmm.
So we don't control how it comes to us. We
Correct.
just, Mary Morrissey, one of my mentors, she would say we don't do anything. We make it welcome.
Right.
And we
Yeah.
make it welcome by vibrating on the same frequency.
And that's such a great point, right? Like in our mind, like we create a vision in our mind, right? So tangibly we think about things, and we put it in our perspective, and we have this idea, and we look at it like I look at it very linearly. I think linearly. That's how my brain works. And then maybe it's everybody, I'm not sure, but for me, I would just in my head, right? But I do know, what I recognize is that it's not ever linear,
No.
right? It's
Which
never
is hard
it's
for
it's
some of
it's
us.
never linear, and I know that, and that's great because I make whatever comes my way. The opportunities that are going to come my way are going to come the way they're going to come, and you make it welcome. And because I know that there's infinite possibilities for ways to show up as opportunity, and it's my job is to recognize them
When they're there.
as
Yeah.
an opportunity in that moment. And that's where you tune into the idea that I have to be awareness around what it looks like in that moment. And if I'm matching that vibration, if my vibration is a match to my vision, and I'm coming from that place, and when things show up in ways that I never considered, it's important to recognize them as that opportunity, not to dismiss them, right? Because sometimes
True.
we dismiss
Yeah.
them. Sometimes it's an idea. Sometimes it's a thought or a conversation, or you have this intuition to go and share your idea with somebody, and you dismiss it. Well, that's could be the opportunity you would need in that
Yeah.
moment, right? It will probably come back around, but it just about being aware of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is. There's a woman actually. Is it Elizabeth Gilbert? She wrote the book Eat, Pray, Love, but she also talks about big ideas, and that when we're aligned with a possibility, ideas start to land. But to your point that it come back around, it mightn't come back around in the same way, right?
Right.
And she
Right.
talks about having had an idea to write a novel with particular characters in a particular scenario. And for one reason or another, she didn't pursue it. And then a year or two later, somebody else brought out a book that she said would have been pretty much the same kind of idea. But so these big ideas, the universe is sharing them around, right? If we're not paying attention to them, they just carry on by, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
and again, that's not to make anybody fearful that they'll miss out on something. Something else will come for sure, but it is to kind of say, pay attention, right? Pay
Yeah.
attention, and it doesn't always look exactly like the way we thought it would come to be. But
Correct.
just to trust that, that there's something in this. So pay attention to it
Yeah.
and follow through on it.
Right.
Yeah.
And as we wrap up today, as we finish up, um, there's a thing's coming to my mind here. It's this or something even greater still. That's that whole piece of opportunity. So if you're worried or you have that idea, well, I might be a little worried about this missing an opportunity. Just know that if you don't capitalize or don't take advantage of that one, it's going to be that or something even greater than that's coming,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
I think that
That's a great
idea is
way to
really,
put
really
it. Yeah.
important. Like if you because there's lots of times we don't do act on certain things and for our greatest good because
Yeah.
ultimately if it was for our greatest good we would have you would end up acting on it, so
You
just
would have
know,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
so
Again,
so just know that it's not
yeah.
always maybe not for your greatest good. um I'm going to leave you with a Nikola Tesla quote that really sat with me. I really like it, and he said if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And that quote means a lot to me because of the fact that everything in the universe is energy and vibration and frequency.
Yeah.
And that doesn't matter if it's a tree or a bird or my vision, my thoughts, everything is all connected in that way. We are all connected through that place of that. And if you can understand it for whatever it means for you, you can really unpack it for your best success and your best growth and the ability to really lean into that. And I think that quote, I've heard it multiple times and I've written it down multiple times. Something about it always struck me. I just didn't understand it. And I probably don't fully even understand it now, but I'm getting clearer on what it means for me. Right. And so I think it's great
Sure.
just to revisit those things and just be and part of that, think of it in that way where it's so everything's so much bigger and greater than we can even imagine because we don't have
Yeah.
the ability to see from that level.
Yeah, and we can't see the intangibles, right? But again, that energy, that frequency, that vibration, we do have a sense of it and we can see the effect of it. So what I would finish with is this idea of, and we come back to this time and time again as well, is to notice what you're noticing, right? And again, we don't have to worry, am I feeling joy or am I feeling abundant or am I feeling X or Y or am I feeling fear or worry or apathy? It doesn't matter, right? It's either expansive, it's either life-giving in some way or it's contractive. And your capacity, my capacity to notice as I navigate my days, am I expansive? Am I contractive? And when I'm contractive, to be able to say, what can I do to shift this? Notwithstanding what we said on the emotional session last week, that sometimes we need to bring great compassion and process the
Hmm.
emotion that's there. But generally speaking, as we're just going through the day, how can I raise my vibration here? How can I think something or generate a feeling about something that's a bit more expansive, that's a bit more of a higher vibration? And if we're constantly moving that up the scale, we will absolutely be attracting in more good, more possibility, more love, more joy, more abundance, more freedom, whatever it is. We will absolutely be a vibrational match for that.
Yeah.
And
Fantastic.
and to just really trust it, really trust it. These are immutable laws
Hmm.
and they work in all times for all people in all places.
Yes,
So trust that.
absolutely. Have confidence in that. That's fantastic. Um, Anything you want to add for your events or anything that's coming up besides your,
No, just
no?
well, what I would say is that for anybody, and I mean, this can be for our Canadian friends every bit as much as our Irish friends. The summertime for me is definitely a little bit quieter.
Hmm.
And that's okay. I'm absolutely happy with that because it's downtime and prep time and holiday time. But just to say, like, if anybody would like to spend a bit of time with me, if you have something going on in your life at the moment, and come have a complimentary strategy session with me, I'll put the link in for
Yes.
that as well. And there's definitely a bit more time in the diary this time of the year, and I'm absolutely open to meeting with you to just look at what's happening in your life at the moment. We have an hour together on Zoom. That's why I'm saying we can do it with people internationally. So yeah, an hour together just to look at where you're at, where you'd love to get to, what your vision is, and what might be some steps that would get you going in that direction, including looking at the opportunity to coach together if that's something that would serve, right? So yeah,
That's
be delighted to
fantastic.
hear.
Yeah, you know, if you're listening and that even is a little bit of an interest to you, that even kind of piques, and I would absolutely jump into that 1 hour or 30 minute, whatever it is, 30 minutes, hour.
Yeah, no, it's an hour. Yeah, it is an
That's an hour.
hour.
So she's going to spend an hour
Yeah.
with you, and that's fantastic. You guys, like that is it really seriously like just jump in and have a conversation with her and just see if it's a fit to move forward. I think
Yeah,
it's it, and you know, and I know you'll get something out of that, even that hour. But ultimately, you
absolutely.
have the opportunity to grow that. You can see it's summertime for me too as well. We have lots on the schedule when it comes to various events that I'm going to, but nothing too much to report in this moment. There's some stuff coming for the fall, and so I'm looking forward to that. Culver Service is on Amazon worldwide, so by all means, please jump in if you want to take a read of my history and my story and where how I got to where I am today. Please take a read of that. That's it's a work that I put out there for people to kind of get some inspiration and be able to take the next step for themselves in that way, whatever that looks like for you.
Wonderful.
And we appreciate you guys as always. We appreciate you guys for being here. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. Please share this if podcast if you love it.
Yeah.
Please share it with people that you think it might they might need a little listen to. We would love to have you do that for us because as always, that's how we grow. We're looking to expand and grow, and the only way to do that is through you guys and word of mouth and grow this thing organically as much as we can. Thanks again for tuning in. This journey has been fantastic. Today was amazing. I appreciate all of the insights, Maeve. And when we have great insights and
Likewise.
great days, it goes so fast. I can't believe it's already over. And I
Yeah.
appreciate you guys. So thank you very much, you guys. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. The next episode is going to be about another radical well-being series, right? I think it'll be
Yeah,
the
spiritual
last.
well-being.
There it is. Be the
Yeah.
last installment of that. So
Yeah.
that'll be
Excited to share that.
fantastic. So thank you guys. We will chat with you in 2 weeks.